When I hear distribution, people work in distribution and they leave, I hear a lot of people say, you mentioned that about distribution changing, but it's getting tougher in distribution. The markets, the margins are getting tougher. People are seeing less value in distribution. How do you answer that? Do you still think that there's a position for distribution in the market?
I do in certain situations, but I think all vendors think distributors can get them more customers. The real fundamental problem is that there's only a certain amount of customers, and the more distributors there are, the more disparate your market is, which gives you the issue about being able to invest. Certainly, margins are dropping, MDF programs are changing, people are moving from bronze to gold, gold to silver, etc. Margins are changing, requirements are changing, and there's lots of products now that do the same thing. There's nuances of all of them, but it's very, very difficult to become a generalist.
If you'd have asked me who Arctic Wolf were a year ago, I'd never have heard of that company, to be honest with you. I'd never heard of them. So how are you sort of coming into the market and educating the partners about what you're doing, what your service is? Because, like I said, a year ago, when someone said to me Arctic Wolf, I didn't know that company at all.
No, and I didn't, if I'm honest with you, but obviously Claire Loveridge and Emma Beatty, who works there, who used to work for me, I started to follow their career and I started to understand what it was they were doing. And I think they've got a unique position in the markets at the moment around the service they've got. The key thing is our concierge service. And the concierge service is a 24/7, 365, sunrise to sunset cybersecurity platform service. So we've got data centers currently in Frankfurt, Canada, and America. And I think the difference that we're bringing is the platform. It's an XDR platform. So the key thing for us is that the people who've got any security peripherals, portfolio, software, can use what they've got. They don't have to rip and replace. So it's quite an easy sale to talk to them about the opportunity. The market is ripe for it. We're seeing all the time that people have been hacked, and the penalties are coming. I think the other thing, compliance. So in certain vertical markets, legal, the request around insurance, the request around being compliant. People asking the question, where are you? What have you got for cybersecurity, cyber risk? If you haven't got something, it's getting harder and harder. I suppose the analogy for those guys that don't understand, it's like having home insurance with no burglar alarm. Yeah. If you don't have something to protect you, you're not going to get the insurance. And as cyber risk insurance is becoming more and more expensive, we believe that we can our platform will make sure you don't need the insurance.
From my understanding, I've looked into a bit more about Arctic Wolf. You are quite selective with the partners you work with, yet loads of partners are keen to work with you. So how do you decide who's a good partner for Arctic Wolf?
I think at the moment, yes, we are selective, and that's down to the number of people. So I want to make sure that the whole people across the channel do a really good job. So currently, we are employing people in the channel all the time. We're looking for good people. And I think it takes a while to get to the right partner. I think storage partners who've got customers with lots of data is the right set for us, rather than security partners, because lots of people have got their own SOC. So we have quite a good qualification process. But as I said before, some people are looking at resale, which is pretty easy. Some people are looking at MSP plus and MSP. MSP is quite harder because, the way that an MSP works, they're looking at multi-tenant environment. Ours is not at this moment in time. And the product's quite complicated. I think the sales cycle's quite long as well. So up to 9 months unless there's been a breach. So we are selective due to two reasons. A, so we can manage them properly, and B, that they are the right people.
And in your opinion, Johnny, what makes a good partnership between a vendor and a partner? How's the best where they get the most out of each other?
Well, I think the analogy I can give you is we can actually then work with that partner to get to their end users. So we can have call-out days, we can have events. We're very good at sponsoring events, taking people, taking the customers, the partners to an event, doing a presentation, talking to them about it, giving them something, a test, a demo, showing what the platform is, and driving that through that way. It's the partner who works well with us is those that are able or willing to open up their customers to us and help us to sell and drive opportunities with those guys.
You mentioned at the start of the conversation about attracting talent, bright young things, people that are motivated to get on and do things in their career. What could be done to encourage early age people from a non-technology background into technology? Because it's a great career, and it's a great industry to get into.
It's a fantastic career. I mean, we're running, I wouldn't say a graduate program, but we have an SDR, so sales development representative, and they're working with end users, creating leads, creating opportunities to pass back to the salespeople and back into the channel. You know, those guys are certainly have no experience. They're graduates. They could be different language speaking people as well. But we are happy to take somebody who wants to grow, who wants to work hard, and has that work ethic of looking for a career.
And if you're looking to attract more experienced people, what methods are you using to attract more?
All of the above. So I use my network. I use LinkedIn. You know, sometimes we use agencies where required. But I think, you know, the markets, especially in the UK, is pretty. We are being approached all the time. You know, I'm getting asked all the time, have we got any roles? Have we got any roles? Have we got any roles? It's an exciting place to be. As you say, a year ago, most people hadn't heard, but certainly now, you know, most people have heard of us. In fact, we were at a large partner a few weeks ago, and one of the sales guys said, I want to know more about you guys because I lost a deal to you guys and I don't want that to happen again. Can you come and, I've got 25 customers, please can you come and sit here and profile my customers with me and work with me to try and sell your product into our thing. That's great.
Yeah, that's
and then if we
referrals.
And if we can replicate that, and the other thing we've just launched in Q3, November the 1st, is our Pack Rewards, so a partnership program for partners where they get so many points for leads, so many points for appointments, so many points for quotes, and so many more points obviously for sales, and then they can create and buy things from a catalogue. So we're creating that sort of what you used to do in the 90s about how you would actually reward people for lead generation, and that can be done in two ways. You know, we're not looking to do anything untoward. It can be done as a company, and then the guys in the company can decide what they want to do with it, or it can be done individually. So we ask the owners or the proprietors of the business which option they'd like.
Now, I know there's been a couple of tier one vendors, a couple of big ones, Cisco being one of them, and several other partners now, seriously trialling or actually making it permanent, the 4-day working week. What's your view on this, Johnny? The 4-day working week, is it?
Well, I wish I'd have had that. I think mine's about 8 days a week, but I think, no, I understand. And I think, you know, as lifestyle changes, people work from home. Some people are on the phone at 8 o'clock in the morning, some till 6 o'clock at night, even depending on where they're working. I mean, South Africa's 2 hours forward, so I'm sometimes on the calls at 7. But I think it's more flexible working, if I'm honest, rather than a set 4 days a week.
How do you know, you said to me maybe there was like 80 in the UK, but if you've got like 1,000, 2,000 employees, how do you manage that in terms of flexibility? Because it's not quite clock in, clock off.
No, and I think it's honesty. It's an honesty program, if I'm honest. I think you cannot be prescriptive now about people workings and people's working ability. I mean, you know, we've got, as I said, our SOC is 24/7, 365 across sunrise to sunset. So there's people working all the time. You know, are the people working in those end users all the time? If they've got a security breach, maybe not, depending on what it is. I think the fundamental thing is to trust your employees. You know, create, and you can tell. You'll know by the results, by where the customers have said they haven't heard from them, they haven't seen them, they haven't sold anything. You know, there's been no leads, there's been no appointments. You can tell. Did
the channel trust their employees though? Did COVID make people forced to trust? Because I hear this a lot, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm not saying they're fads, but certainly 4-day working week, hybrid working. You know, we can go to Marbella for a month and not do anything. There's a lot of things to attract candidates because everyone's struggling. Do you think it's a fad, or do you think we'll slowly creep back?
I think it's a mix. I think it depends on what you do.
Yeah.
I think there's certain firms and partners, distributors, vendors that want people in the office. They want to see them. They want to look out their office and see all those desks are taken. And you go to some places, and on a Monday there's different people sat at that desk every day for 5 days. And I think everywhere in between. I think the real key is there's no set way. It'll be dependent on, if it's an owner-run business, they all want different things.